Time now for a look at the latest business news, and the markets, of course, will be closely watching as British MPs cast their votes on that agreement to withdraw from the European Union. To tell us more, we're joined by our business editor, Stephen Carroll. Stephen.
Well, if you want to know how the financial world is feeling about that Brexit divorce deal, you'll need to watch the trading in pound sterling as that vote develops in Westminster later. The currency markets is where the action will be. And that's because sterling has become the lightning rod for all of the twists and turns in this story. It's particularly vulnerable to surprises. Let's go back to 2016. We had investors and investment managers had thought at the time that, of course, the vote would be to stay in the European Union. When that was not the case, as it turned out, we saw a huge drop in the value of sterling. And although there's been ups and downs along the way, it has never recovered to the point that it was before the vote to leave the European Union. So we've seen it follow the twists and turns of negotiations, tending to rise when it looked like the EU and the UK were going to do a deal, but falling again when a no-deal scenario looked more likely. And in the event of a no deal, sterling traders do see sterling falling as low as $1.12. At the moment, it's trading around $1.29, but it was nearly $1.50 when Britain voted to leave the European Union. Let's look at the markets moving today. A pound trading for $1.29, as we were seeing there, and €1.12. That could, in the worst case of scenarios, investors are saying could fall to parity if things don't go well in that vote this evening. Traders, of course, will be watching, like the rest of us, the numbers in that vote. The more likely a no deal seems, the more we should expect sterling to fall. Well, meanwhile, here in France, the port of Calais is gearing up for life after the UK leaves the European Union. Some residents there are worried, but others see opportunities in Brexit, as Shona Bhattacharya now reports.
Calais hopes to become the French hub for the British once again. After a years-long migrant crisis, business owners say Brexit could provide a much-needed boost.
We would like Brexit to happen in a way that brings back duty-free. We had some great duty-free years when the English would come by and get tax-free products. It created jobs, stimulated local production, and yes, the economy was doing well.
As many as 20,000 people and more than 5,000 trucks arrive in Calais from the UK every day. Once Britain leaves the EU, customs services and all the formalities that go with them will be back in force.
We'll be ready late March for the veterinary and plant controls. We'll also be ready with the electronic customs documents.
Not everyone is ready. This cargo transport company owner is bracing for the worst. Not too stressed?
A little. A lot. I'm very worried due to the situation that could be tragic soon for transport companies.
With just a few more minutes at the border, traffic jams grow by 25 kilometers both in France and in Britain, and time costs money.
I did the math. With another hour of waiting time for trucks driving through Great Britain, we'll have to put aside another €350,000 next year.
Those companies that export to the UK will have another set of hurdles. Now even the most prepared can only do one thing: wait and see.
China is to cut VAT rates and offer new tax rebates in an effort to boost its slowing economy. The measures announced by economic policy officials at a press conference in Beijing. Now, they'll include measures like expanding tax cuts for small businesses and extending the tax breaks for research and development. This announcement coming after the latest economic data from China confirmed a slowdown in the world's second largest economy. That was a big worry for the Asian markets and trading yesterday. Today, though, things looking up a little bit more, taking some cheer from those announcements from Beijing on the Asian markets. The Shanghai Composite and the Hang Seng in Hong Kong both up over 1%. In fact, strong gains across the board. The Nikkei in Tokyo even getting in on the action there, closing up almost 1% at the end of trading. Moving on, the latest bail request by former Nissan chairman Carlos Ghosn has been rejected by the Japanese courts. Mr. Ghosn has been in custody in Japan since November 19th, accused of financial misconduct and breach of trust at Nissan. Meanwhile, the chief executive of Nissan has been speaking to a French newspaper, and he's been telling them that he had no other choice than to investigate the allegations against the ousted chairman. Nissan CEO Hirota Saikawa telling Les Echos that the events had hurt him deeply and that there was no conspiracy against Carlos Ghosn. He also said that the company's alliance with Renault was crucial for its future. Ford is expected to announce an alliance of its own with Volkswagen at a press conference at the Detroit Motor Show later. The venture thought to focus on commercial vehicles, but with a view to expanding into electric and self-driving cars in the future. Such cooperation has the potential to save both companies billions of euros. Well, finally from me, Toyota is bringing back its much-loved Supra sports car. The revival announced in Detroit at a presentation that included the Spanish race car driver Fernando Alonso. Toyota stopped making the Supra 17 years ago. The rebooted version will go on sale this summer in the United States with a price tag just shy of $50,000. And while you might want a flashy car, perhaps not for the environmentally minded among us, there is no hybrid or electric option on the new Supra.
Okay, Stephen, thanks a lot for that business update. Stephen Carroll there, our business editor.